careful what you say because cats in chat.
Hello, Fantasy and Five listeners and watchers. Meow, meow, meow. Cat is back. First topic, as seen in chat rooms, playoff prep. I know it's super early, but what's the approach for fantasy playoffs? Build team depth using like 6 to 8 top 80 or 100 players, or trade for top 25 and fill it out with streamers? Good question. Yes, it is super early to be talking about playoffs. We're still about a little bit over a quarter of the way through. That said, it does not hurt to look at your roster in comparison to other teams in your league. Because, especially in a category league where in the playoffs, it's all about winning your matchup 5 to 4, you want to make sure that you know what those 5 categories are that you're strong in. And if you are weak in any of those 5, work the waiver, work some trades, get stronger, and slowly build up your team towards playoffs and build up those 5 categories as much as you can while keeping an eye on what's happening with the other teams in your league. So keep spreadsheets, or some kind of documentation to really track your league mates. Because once the playoffs roll around pretty quickly, you want to make sure that your team's in a good position to beat your opponents in the playoffs. Well, obviously, first you want to make the playoffs. So make sure you're in the top 6 or top 8 position. So win your matchups while building your team towards the future. That makes sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, so in regards to this question, I am advocating for build team depth. But that said, because streamers, you can't really count on who's going to be available on waivers. It's kind of an unknown from here until the playoffs hit. So sure, if you want to try and snag a couple top 25 guys without completely having to rebuild your team, do it. But I am advocating more for building up team depth around, the core that you did draft. All right. Next topic is slow week vibes. We are in the midst of a very slow week, and I'm already seeing some trade offers being put out there. So I think people are using it as an opportunity to make some changes on their team. Others are looking to not make any changes, but kind of assess things, right? Kind of, again, look at the current composition of your team, seeing if there's any weaknesses with regard to your matchups happening next week or the week after, and making some moves to ensure that your team is strong for the next couple weeks. Because a lot of us are fighting for playoff spots. So it's really imperative that you're winning your matchup. So look at your roster and see if there's any moves that you can make to make your team a little bit stronger. Also, a lot of other fantasy managers might not be thinking about their team right now. So it might be a good opportunity to float some trade offers or to claim some players off waivers that maybe some of the other managers are sleeping on. And our last topic, positional balance. Our chatter is asking, do you aim for a certain number of guard, forward, center players in a standard league? What should I do if I have too many guards, like all solid guards? So, yeah, if you're playing in a standard league, standard positions at draft time, it's a good idea to build a balanced out roster. Now, whether you want to draft guards at the beginning to shore up those guard stats, or whether you want to maybe be punting guard stats and go more big man strategy. Either way, you're still going to need guards, forwards, and centers on your team in order to maximize your games played every week and have that balance across your team. So if the draft is come and gone, like this person is saying, and they have 6 guards and barely any centers or forwards. I would look for 2-for-1 trade. Try and trade 2 of your guards for a really strong center or a really strong forward, and try and balance out your roster that way. I would not drop any solid performing guards because it's unlikely that you're really going to find quality on the wire that will be able to compensate for you dropping those good players. So look for a 2-for-1 trade. Try and offload a couple of your guards for a really quality forward or center. And that does it for this week's Cats in Chat. See you next week. Bye. Meow.
Careful what you say because cats in chat.